Presidente, if he goes down, that's the team fight probably over for them, unless they can get back up. Nice gravity well as well, pulls them in, and he really gives him enough room. Of course, Continuum split there coming out as well, gives him another gravity well. That goes in, that was actually quite risky, and we are going to see the down coming out onto Cold Summer.
Super heads over towards that waterfall, and actually he's looking to try and make sure that that defense comes out. The downstate is there for Canscout, and they execute. It's going to be... Oh no, the res comes out. Canscout is going to get back on his feet. It looks like the res was interrupted in the end, and it's going to be Cranox going down into the downstate. Super is down, but Canscout is channeling the res, and Cranox is actually in a really bad spot right now. Guns and Tools going to try and channel that res himself, but if they can interrupt that one, it looks like Cranox might just be going down. This is a beautiful play out of Car Crash. They get the kill. They get a point down for themselves, and Syndroneer actually feeling the wrath of this one. Beautiful play. Syndroneer pulls back. He's going to be able to get the decap.
So surprised that they fell for that.
If TechSpeed can go down here, this could be the opportunity for Orange Logo to get back into this game. They are 300 points down right now, and they've got to get this kill onto TechSpeed. They do, and look at this, they might just get the wipe. Zan incredibly low. Mancow in downstate already. Zan just trying to escape this Swan. The assault is going to come out from Feroz, though. The Berserker Amulet paying dividends right now. The keep as well, still in favor of Orange Logo, so they are racking up these points.
Look at the HP, Feroz goes down, and then we're going to see Syndroneer drop as well downstate, and Rom is going to follow very quickly after, surely, and that's got to be the end of Orange Logo's hopes and dreams on this forest map as 3 members get taken out here.
Beautiful stuff coming out from Vermilion there. As soon as you said they need...
He's down.
Oh, Freylina is going to go down. Health Sect is incredibly low as well. Freylina doesn't look like the rest is going to come through. Azure is going to fall. This is going to be a 3-man wipe coming out. Vermilion taking that team fight. They're going to secure themselves the mine, and immediately you see them rush across the map.
Last week, week 4, talking about how once you have that point in this current meta, it's very hard to take back. But here we see Morph actually going down. Actually does get stomped there by Kaden. They managed to pick that one off, and now they're going to take H-Man as well. Granted, I mean, Apex still has that cap over there on the mine, so they have been accumulating points.
Now Track will off a respawn, looking to engage in a 1v3. Actually, no, we see both of those Revenants for the blue team coming back to the midpoint where Zora's in the downstate. This could be big for Apex Prime if they're able to pick up a kill, or at least get the decap for that matter. But Zorg is getting res up. It looks like they don't want to leave this node. They're not coordinating too well. Who's on the node? Who's going in for the res? He's actually going to be finished off. Michael Wayne now going to be, or Wayne, yes, excuse me, going to be going into the downstate as well. This could be Apex Prime's chance to get back into the game before it's too late.
If Tarsus loses Swanee here to shoot at, I mean, granted, he shouldn't, but if he does lose it, for some reason, they will lose the match because of this play.
But they're also losing Henge right now. They're in a 2v3. He needs to get this kill. Whoever gets this kill, I don't know who's going. Oh, Apex Prime, Tarsus coming up with the kill. Shoot at. Not able to get that last minute hit, and Apex Prime coming up with a huge victory. So close to giving up the decap as well, and that's something I fear for this blue team rather. Never lucky. If they get the kill, they might be able to knock him off point, forcing the other member off the point to get the rest. And he's in the downstate now. Get them both in the downstate. This could be a game-changing point for zero counterplay. We're at 1:15 left. Urantian in the downstate. Is the stomp going to come out? Oh, it does come out. That is huge, as now they have one of their revenants off the map. Bob is under a lot of pressure as well. He's might be taken down. Has a shield block up in a second. Is going to use it. Is going to be okay. But this is now PZ's game if they want it. Thromus has a few cooldowns left. He's going to use his null field there, and needs some help now. He needs to get a rotation over here. They have the +1 elsewhere, but that +1 is just another Mesmer, and trying to do what he can. Has another gravity wall. He's going to throw down both of them. Hits them both. Wow, a lot of damage coming out from Zeromus. Got to give him credit on that. That was well played on his end.
Nos might actually get... He's getting extremely low. If at any point he does go down, Fanaram might be able to bring him back up rather quickly. So, and if he does go back up, they might actually take Schnicky out in the process.
And
looks like Mine's going to go get him back up.
Yep, look at Nos. He's so low right now. Wakey off a respawn, going to head the long way up to midpoint, and Sunfish is watching for him. Nos is going to have 4,000 health out of that shroud. Leaves it. Schnicky's now in the downstate, and so Happy Kid might be... Oh, they get the stomp. Happy Kid's in the downstate as well. Sunfish probably looking for a res. No, he's just going to leave this one. No, cut their losses, get out of that node, possibly head back to the mine node where Nos already on the way.
Hello everyone, welcome to the On Point Show, the show about the Pro League for Guild Wars 2 in SPVP. Of course, this evening I am joined by Mr. Heurix as per usual. How are you, sir?
Good as always, man. Good as always.
Good, good, good. We're going to be speaking to Helsef as well in a minute. Well, not a minute. It's going to be a bit longer than that, but we're going to speak to him in a bit. He has the entire stage for himself. So, you know, happy days, happy times. But yeah, we're just going to briefly go over the results. Also, hello to everyone in PvP land. We are back for the last... We are on the road, Heurix. The road to the finals now. Especially after the last week, where we're pretty sure who's going to be going through, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I can say with absolute certainty who is going to be going to the finals, I would say. For sure. Okay. For both sides.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to show you why, because we're going to go over the EU results very, very quickly. Chaotic Contingency took 2-0 over Purple Noise. Purple Noise are now officially in final and last place, not getting themselves a game, unfortunately. At the moment, they just have the 10 losses and will be placed 8th with Chaotic Contingency, now 3 points ahead of them, of course. So Purple Noise trying to pick up a win in the coming weeks. Some more Guns Than Roses. Losing out to Car Crash there, actually. It potentially might have been actually quite an even game. Felt like Car Crash as well, they did actually performing... slowly increasing their performance as we go through the season, just getting their footing a little bit more as well as their comp. Orange Logo going out 2-0 to rank 55 Dragons quite convincingly as well. Obviously they've had numerous troubles over the past season as well. And then of course TCG versus Vermilion, and they took that 2-0. So that was obviously the main game of the series, and probably one of the most important, actually, series of the entire league in the EU so far. It was pretty interesting to watch that double Mesmer Ranger kind of comp going up against, TCG, and the choices of Blinks and Portals, which was, a big part of how actually Vermilion kind of came to win, as well as obviously the Ranger and the pick there. Drazzy going for Engineer. We'll obviously talk to Helsef in a bit, and maybe he can explain what he feels was the strength in that game, and maybe where they got left out a little bit as well. And then we went to NA. So do you want to just run over the NA results for us very quickly, Heurix?
Alright, so in NA, what we saw was Apex Prime taking it 2-0 over Easy Peasy, making it look fairly easy peasy. In match 2, we saw Never Lucky going up 2-0 against Zero Counterplay, kind of getting a little bit of a distinction between themselves and Zero Counterplay, a team that is now again still not seen any victories as of yet. Following that, PZ beating out Final Form, probably one of the more important matches, of the entire season, because PZ, of course, in this scenario needed to beat out Final Form to have any shot at going to the season finals, where now, because of match 4, the Absurd beating Spooky, kind of what we expected. They're going to be in a position now where they're definitely looking at going to the season finals unless they make a huge mistake,
Yeah, it's really interesting, the league table as well. We can have a look at those in a moment as well. The Absurd, obviously. I mean, they're well above. Well, they've got 10 games at the moment. We're seeing them, obviously. Everyone's played so well so far, but the Absurd, always going to be just rocketing ahead. Everyone predicted obvious movement. They're going to be in the finals. It's always about second. And are you kind of surprised? Are you surprised at the moment about the actual positioning of NA teams at the moment? Is there anyone you felt should have been lower or higher or?
No, this is probably almost exactly what I anticipated. PZ, I actually called out towards the beginning of the season when we were watching them tour, or kind of in the qualifiers, the open qualifiers, and they were just murdering everybody left and right. They were
That's a good way of putting
it. They were one of the first teams to jump on the bandwagon of this new meta that everybody has really grown to love over the course of the last couple of months, and they've done well with it. I remember Marvin being one of the first bunker mesmers in NA, and he was quick to adapt to that. So, I definitely anticipated that. Spooky and Apex Prime, definitely some top teams. I kind of anticipated Final Form to be a little bit more in contention, but unfortunately they fell short. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty much what we expected.
Okay, so having a look, we have got the leaderboard up at the moment. As you can see, Abjured, followed by Team PZ, Spooky Apex, and then we've got Final Form, Never Lucky, Easy Peasy, and Zero Counterplay, yet to get anything out of the league currently on NA, of course. And just quickly nipping over to EU's, Vermilion and rank 55, pretty undefeated at the moment. It's looking good for these guys. It's pretty solid that we know this something absolutely horribly terrible has to go wrong. I don't even think they can lose on score difference at the moment either. So, you know, there's only enough points to do that. It's almost impossible. So, you know, good stuff for them. Not sure we were expecting Vermilion to be up there, especially at the. Not only are they top, you know, they're first. They've got the best, you know, win ratio as well at the moment. So they are undefeated. They have not dropped one game in the entire Pro League so far, which is pretty impressive, really. Then ranked 55, of course, TCG taking up third, then with Orange Logo in fourth, with Car Crashed and More Guns as well. Obviously, you know, we talked about the Orange Logo issues in previous weeks. Celtic Contingency, obviously, as well, just winning against Purple Noise. It was quite a confident win. And then Purple Noise, obviously, in in eighth position, not able to pick up a single game yet in the Pro League. So, let's go and talk to the man himself, because I think, you know, we've kept him waiting for 6 minutes, so you know, that's also a thing. Okay, let's just switch over the actual settings here, and we'll go and speak to Mr. Helsef about things going on. Hello, Helsef, how are you today?
So, we're good. You hear me, right?
We do indeed. I will just have to raise you up a little bit, but yes, we can hear you somewhat.
Maybe the silence was fitting because I actually wanted to have a moment for Mesmer after the changes. But I guess we can leave it at that. What's up?
What were you talking about specifically there?
Nothing, honestly. Like, I can't even read the changes. It's just a tombstone for me. Like, literally, the balance notes say "rip" right after them when I'm reading them.
So after, I mean, obviously, I didn't get to watch the actual show there for a bit because I was actually setting up the show. But there's a lot of questions out there actually about Mesmer specifically, and how maybe even you have felt about the build. You know, that because you played Bunker Mesmer in the Go 4 before, didn't you?
Yeah. I was the one who created it. It feels like I've unleashed a plague upon the world. So, like, for all of you, I don't apologize.
Are you sorry?
With it,
no.
So it's fine. But I mean, in another world, I probably would apologize.
Do you enjoy? I mean, this is a question, isn't it? I mean, you know, you say you come up with it. Do you enjoy playing that build? In that sense.
So I mean, basically, there's two different layers of looking at it. There's the top level gameplay. Whenever I'm facing, say, one of the top European teams, I'm playing 5v5. That's always going to be fun because, you know, it's 5v5 in competitive gameplay, and like, granted, it can become stale and all that stuff, but like, being a Bunker Mesmer and like facing another Bunker Mesmer, and you're like, let's say you have Mesmer Rev versus Mesmer Rev, that 2v2 is fun. It requires mobility and all that stuff. Like, if you compare it to me playing Shadow Mesmer, you know, like, it's not fair, you know, like, it's not fair. It's like, well, do you like this diet bar? And I'm like, yeah, I can eat this diet snack bar. I mean, it's fine. And then but what about this huge ice cream? Like, obviously, someone would prefer the ice cream, but for what it is, you can bear through it, especially when you're playing video games for money. I mean, it's fine. There are worse things you can go through than playing a tanky build, Jebro.
That comparison. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a very, very strong build, you know, and to find it, obviously, you have to be at that level of play to bring it in, and obviously there's going to be things which will affect that. But do you think that Bunker Support Mesmer will be a thing once these changes come in? I know it's, you know, very early on. We don't know exactly all the intricate details of what's going to be changed, but looking at it just maybe from what you've seen or the feeling you get from it, maybe.
Honestly, like, one of the things that makes that build as ridiculous as it is simply because of the quickness rest and quickness stomp. Like, it's all about that. Like, Mesmer can have so many 2-on-2s. If you look at them on paper, you take, for instance, Engineer, Scrapper plus Revenant versus Mesmer plus X. Yeah. Like, the Scrapper plus Revenant can actually down the Mesmer's partner quite a few times, but the Mesmer will always reset, and it will reset, and eventually, when the enemy goes down, you have the quickness stomp and you win it. So I think almost the entirety of the viability of that build is quite linked to the quickness stomp and quickness rest. Yep. It's still going to be very tanky. Like the people that think you're going to be free from seeing this in solo queue, you're being silly. Like, you're going to see those guys that just sit on the node and just dodge around, and you're just going to be bored. But I mean, like, in terms of high level competitive value, I think it's decreased quite a bit, especially with the Alacrity nerf.
Do you feel like the nerfs were in well placed? Because in my opinion, the way that I see it is that I agree with you. I think that the quickness stomping, quickness rezzing, resistance stomping, resistance rezzing, all that kind of stuff on top of the fact that you have Bountiful Disillusionment, and then in my opinion, I think flow of time is more of an issue. I would have gone in that route. Do you think that they went in the right route in terms of balancing the Bunker Mesmer, or do you think they just kind of nerfed Mesmer too hard as a whole because of the way that they did things?
I mean, the Alacrity nerf, I'll have to experience it, you know, because like right now, like if I don't play Chronomancer when I play my Shadow Mesmer, since I try to play Shadow Mesmer more than anything, and like I've tried sometimes removing the Shadow Mesmer, it's like doing a core Mesmer, and you really feel the difference in the cooldowns, you know? Like you feel, oh, I don't have Blink now when I usually would have it when I play Chronomancer. And, like there's so many different scenarios where you just feel that change, you know? And I'm just gonna have to experience it, and in the end I'll have to see, like, do I feel like this really hits Shadow Mesmer as hard as it may be, or if not. I mean, in terms of Bunker Mesmer's viability, the thing is, these nerfs were probably not just targeted as Bunker Mesmer in its current place in PvP. It's also, like, it's ridiculous in raids and PvE and such. So I hear. I've never touched PvE, but so I hear. So maybe it's, like, a little global nerf. I mean, if there's any way to make, like, the other lines of Shatter, like, more viable while you're nerfing the Chronomancer, because, like, continuous split alone makes Chronomancer good, you know? Like, it's a good trait line because you have continuous split. So, like, theoretically, if Domination got better, like, I don't know, like, better boon removal, because, like, it's... With the power creep of the metagame in terms of boons, there's a lot more boons nowadays, so maybe, like, if that removed more boons, then probably Shadow Mesmer could see somewhat of play. But with this, like, it is a very, very big nerf for Mesmer, and we'll have to see where it goes. Like, in the end, we'll have to experience it. I understand why they did the nerfs, though, and, I mean, Backstab is ready in the worst-case scenario.
I mean, they're talking, I mean, like, for example, I mean, you know, they're talking about removing, right at the beginning of the show, like, I caught the beginning of the show, and this is quite a big thing, you know, the amulets, and what they're going to be doing with those, you know, taking some of the tanky ones out, putting some new combos in that they're not talking about yet at the moment. I mean, that's quite a big thing, right? I mean, you know, soldiers, I mean... I know.
I want you to do this once you're done with the game. I want you to 1v1 Heurix, and I want him to play Bunker Mesmer traits. I want you to play Shadow Mesmer traits. He can go Berserker Amulet. You can go Berserker Amulet, you can go Soldier Amulet. He's still not tanky. Because it's all about, like, the traits offer more survivability right now than actual Amulets does, in my opinion. Like, you can look at so many builds, and there's still... Scrappers have Marauder Amulet, Jebro. They have a Marauder.
Yeah, I know.
They're tankier than my family put together, and they have Marauder. like you need to realize that.
Oh no, I play the build very often. It's extremely wow. The word I was going to use then, I will not use right now. But yes, you're correct.
See, I have this influence on him. No, but
this is the first time we've ever been on a stream together.
Oh, hold on, boys. Hold on, boys. All right, so we just got confirmation a minute ago on the forums that durability and mercy runes are getting removed. Demon summoning is getting removed. Sigil of energy is getting its functionality changed to granting, instead of granting 50 endurance on weapon swap, Sigil of energy is instead going to grant 5 seconds of vigor on a 9-second ICD.
Okay.
They're also going to be they're removing. Oh, I love this.
No.
Let's just get a clap going. No. Let's get a clap going. Boys.
Well, we have to know what it is.
Settlers, Celestial, Sentinel. It's gone.
Heurix, calm down.
Sorry, but they're also going to be.
I'm not throwing you any fish for this.
Mercenary amulet. Hold on. I'm going to put these up in the.
Or do you want to send? What is it on the forums? I can put it up on the screen as well.
Yeah, it's on the forums. I'll send you a link, man.
Okay.
So you can put it on the screen for everybody. This is just a glorious moment for us all. This is a glorious moment.
I really like the mentality behind this. Like, they're looking at removing things that can consider be unhealthy. Like, you know, I like Citadel Energy thing as a Shadow Mesmer, but at the same time, I can see why it's a problem. So, I mean, this is good mindset. Hopefully, we'll have the same vein of thinking, along with many of the traits that make classes as tanky as they are. You have, like, the final trait of the Scrapper line. You have a ton of traits for druids. There's a lot of traits that basically becomes the survivability for a lot of classes. A great example of this is, like, Diamond Skin on Ellie, you know? Like, their entire survivability of the entire class is built on this skill in terms of PvP. So, we'll have to see what happens.
That changes really
it's a correct mindset to have, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's going to make it, hopefully we're going to see a lot more burst. I mean, that's actually quite a good segment way into a question I had, actually. And actually a lot of questions I've had from different people just generally on Facebook, Twitter, wherever else as well on social media was what has been your favorite meta ever since you can remember starting that you felt there was either best representative of Guild Wars 2 PvP or was the most exciting for you? So maybe either meta or maybe even just build in terms of Mesmer as well. Or what you thought were the most exciting, maybe.
My favorite build, like of all time period, for Mesmer is current iteration of Chronomancer Shadow build.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is competitively viable, and I don't think it will be competitively viable going forward. But this is my favorite build, like right now. So I guess like at the very, very, very early release of HOT, when we hadn't figured out the metagame, so we were playing Dragon Hunter, Thief, Power Remnant, Mesmer. We had like 4 Circers, and we were dominating people trying to do triple sustain. That was fun. But since that wasn't actually a developed metagame, it was rather people just finding things out. I guess if you go further back, there was a metagame. This was during the Go For days, and there was like there would be one team playing Shadow Mesmer, there would be one team playing Necromancer, there would be one team playing Druid, Ranger. Like there was a
mix. It was a good mix.
Yeah. There would be like one Ellie. It was before DD Ellie became meta, right? So the metagame before that, with NG being the best class, right?
With the Selly rifle.
Yeah, exactly. That metagame was my favorite. And it wasn't because I had 2 top-tier NGs on my team that could just win far.
It was an exciting time, I'll admit, it was an exciting time. Personally, I did get slightly bored of playing Celestial Rifle, but it was very, very strong. Like, you could come up, there were some nice combinations. You had to think about, there was more skillful play maybe involved, which is maybe what people are wanting in PvP now, that the skill rather than, playing quite a bunkery build, and not necessarily being able to have that 1 versus 1 skill. So, really feel like you beat that player and you deserved it, And now that's really where I think we're heading with this. And I think we're on the right road, and, I think Heurix is right to clap potentially the way he did in all fairness.
Here's the thing, though. So the big thing to note is that all of the amulets that were, I guess, Celestial supporting a lot of that all-around play, kind of, like it's just too easy to do everything. But the other 3 amulets is just removing anything that has, on a 3-stat amulet, 2 defensive stats. So those are all gone. On the new amulets, though, the ones that I'm most excited for, of course, are going to be, like, obviously, Sages, Paladins, and Menders. The one I'm kind of worried about, though, is Mercenaries amulet, and I see people already kind of mentioning stuff in chat, and this is something that I thought about for a bit. That Mercenary amulet, 1050 power, 1050 condition, and then both defensive stats, toughness, and vitality
it looks like the amulet for Scrapper, essentially.
Yeah. It's definitely...
I was not thinking that at all.
Any class with Fury and self-sustain traits is going to be ham with that build.
Yeah, exactly. That could also be a Necro amulet as well. I mean, I imagine Nas sitting there just like doing, Dark Lord things or something. I don't really know. But
you're all about the hand movements today,
man. Pretty sure
they're
all dead considering the Necro changes that came in. Clearly, this guy has some blackmail action going on.
Yeah, something's going on with Nas, man. I don't know what he's
happy
doing
right now.
Oh my god. Not again with that talk.
Was that serious talk? No, I'm sorry. I wasn't bringing the truth.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
We're good. I didn't even know.
That curse, man. That putrid curse, man. I just see every team, like even before, like when we were talking about the changes in the middle of December or something, we had, I think it was Argy maybe? And we were talking about how Necromancers... It was Phantom and Argy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and we were talking about how Necros were going to be speeding up the gameplay, and you might see a little bit more Necro play since the Condi Rev was getting a little bit of a nerf. You might be able to see them speed the games up. Now it's in a state where, in my opinion, I think we're going to be seeing at least 1 Necromancer on every team because the boon control is just going to be insane.
We saw Posey playing actually in the Pro League the other day, and he was running a full shout build. It was actually
I was really interested in his
pretty
build.
Good.
Like I tried to take a look at how it worked, but whenever you guys put the camera on him, he was in downstate. So could you please tell me the skills again? It actually looks quite interesting.
That's actually a problem with a lot of Necros. Actually, I could probably say all Necros other than Nos at this point, because even Sunfish was playing Necromancer against the Abjured, and when he went up to it, I remember Chase saying he was going to be really scared of it. You know, you never know what's going to happen when you go up against a Selly Necro as a scrapper, but yeah, Sunfish was just like dead. I mean, he just got murdered
I have a
left and
counter
right.
question, which is quite valid. Who's Sunfish?
Sunfish, oh man, he's a player on Spooky, man. He's a player on
What's
Spooky.
spooky?
Oh man, I can see this. I can see what you're doing, and I'm just not gonna fall for it, man.
Huh? I'm sorry?
I
Right,
value...
you're saying that it's not worth bringing up, right? It's not worth
What's
bringing
that?
up. Exactly. It's not worth bringing up. It's not even worth discussing because it's on the N to the A side. And you know what? I want to give my props. I actually want to say this. I'm going to say this seriously. NA was due to some freak of nature ahead in the metagame. For some ridiculous reason, NA actually crafted up. Like, I mean, they did the double bunker mesmer with Portal and like all that stuff earlier, right? And like EO actually frowned upon it. I myself, I looked at it, and the problem was I saw the double portal, and I actually blame NA for my loss, by the way, because I saw the double portal, I saw the double mesmer double portal, and with the resistance trait and all that. And these mesmers would go into middle and fight, and they would put the portal on the point and activate it for resistance. And I'm like, well, that's just silly. Like, why are you doing that? And then I just saw them doing NA things, and since then I couldn't take it seriously. I wouldn't theorycraft it seriously, and then I faced double portal, and I'm just done. Because apparently double portal is good when you don't put it on point and activate it for resistance. So congratulations, NA, for actually out theorycrafting EO for once, and then making the idea look so poor that we couldn't theorycraft it ourselves. Maybe it's some next level tactic, like for the finals of the WTS, and it's gonna have some ridiculous comp that they actually died 15 times doing hot join with. Like, it's I don't know. NA is on some other level.
Wow, that's actually that's quite big of you.
Yeah, I know, right? I actually,
That's
you know, like,
game.
people would take this as me flaming, but I did actually say that NA theorycrafted
That's
ahead of time. and
actually probably one of the biggest compliments I've ever heard you
that is
say.
very nice.
Well,
of me.
it's a compliment, but it's kind of backhanded though, because it's also
Of course
stating
it is,
that,
it's
you know,
Helseth.
the only time that NA has actually theorycrafted ahead was just pure eights, just pure eights. So I don't know. I mean, like, we'll take it. I guess we'll take it. But
I would if I were you.
I don't know. Well,
There's something I want to say is that the resistance trait is not like I mean we're out of the running, so I might as well share a theorycraft. The resistance trait is not optimal at all when you're running in the inspiration line because like you can stack up resistance ridiculously with 2 bunker mesmers. Like you saw, well, I don't know if you noticed, but like 55 and us, we both started the game with 1 minute 15 resistance, as well as every single boon, like 25 might stack, 10 stability and such. You just use the block, and then you continue split, and then you block again, and you're boon sharing with the block, and continue split refreshes the passive proc. So basically, just look over the VOD again. So that's, I mean, I'm helping NA with some theorycraft there, and another piece of theorycraft I can give for you guys on NA, as a thank you for helping me realize about the double portal, is there's a dodge option in the game. If you go into the options fund and you can just bind it to a key, it helps you avoid damage. So, I'd say with that piece of tip, we're even. We're even, NA.
but I mean, at the same time, okay. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Okay,
At the same
go.
time, you mentioned these things, and this is actually something that I talked about in week 4. How you were talking about how a team on NA, I don't remember who it was, got just completely murdered on mid on Legacy. And you were talking about how that only happens in hot joins. It doesn't even happen in hot joins, actually. And, you know, it'll only happen in NA. And then the following week, you actually had it, or sorry, in week 4, you had it happen to your team where you just got absolutely murdered and then got a full team wipe and lost complete momentum. But I feel like this might be a thing. It might be a similar situation where you're going to be talking a lot of crap right now about, like, NA, and then we'll see in the season finals, NA just win again. Like, is that gonna happen, man? Is it gonna happen?
I'm sorry. I'm just looking over some NA VODs right now. It's give me a second. En minute.
But you said the same thing around WTS, man, and then NA took that one as well. I don't know.
Okay, ding, boys. Ding. Ding, ding.
Are we still waiting?
Ding.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that because I was distracted by the lack of dodging. All right.
Ding, ladies. Well, we've got supportive handbags at the ready for both of you. We'll put it in our back pockets for now. We'll remember that one, but maybe we can continue this in later weeks. But now, and that again, you've moved completely into the right direction. It's as if I gave you the questions, but with your comp, you're talking about 2 portals. This past week, obviously, you know, everyone knows that you obviously lost. What was the main reason, or a couple of reasons, why you lost? I mean, you know, it's just the basic question. What were they running, or how did you? Was it anything to do with your performance? I mean, you know, we have our ideas, but from your perspective,
basically, I'm gonna say this metagame, but I'm not saying this metagame as in like a denouncing way. I'm just gonna explain how this metagame works now. In scrims, this metagame, we found that literally one build, one class swap, one minor adjustment, sometimes just a couple of trait changes can completely change games, right? So like we sometimes tried like bringing in a dragon hunter just to see, and it could go from a game that where we would 500-0 the enemy to us getting 500-0'd. That's how big the difference can be. Like, it's absolutely massive. And the best way to outplay an enemy is when you just have mirror builds, because like so many matchups are just completely landslides. Like you take, I'm just going to give an example. I'm going to take NG plus Druid, okay? If you're an NG plus Druid and you're trying to 2v1 me as a Mesmer plus NG, you have no chance. If I have a Mesmer plus Revenant, you have no chance. You don't even have a chance from the get-go, right? You're just lost. And this metagame is very similar to that, where if you don't play the optimal thing, you get butchered. Like, you don't even have a chance. And we were behind in Theorycraft with the Portal and with the Power Revenant. These were 2 classes that we were behind in the Theorycraft, and that is easily enough to take the loss versus a team on Vermilius caliber. So basically, we were preparing ourselves for it, and we had the spec that you guys saw in the actual match itself, you know. And with this, we were super confident. Like, if it was a mirror match, I'm extremely certain that we would have won it. But because there was the swap of compositions, we weren't ready for it, and it's a best of 3. We have 2 games to get ready for it, you know? Like, if it was a tournament with a losers bracket, it could be different, because then, okay, we would lose, and then we would re-roll to the exact same thing they did. And then we could have had a chance to outplay them. And I'm not saying we guaranteed would have won, I'm saying it matters a lot. We didn't take the theory crafting quite as seriously, because we thought that we had, like,
the optimum. You thought you had the best, right?
More or less. Like, if it's not completely optimal, we can outplay. But that's not right. Like, if you don't have the completely optimal in its metagame, you can't outplay. Like, you don't even get the option to. If you look at past metagames, there's been plenty of times where there's, like, unbalances in the comp, right? Like, Team A might have better fighting power, but Team B rotates better. You know, like, there was these kinds of clashes earlier. There's nothing of that. If you're Team A, and like, in our case, we didn't have Portal, and we didn't have Power Revenants. So we just get worse 2v2s, worse mobility, worse everything. We don't get the actual... The only time we almost caught up was when I was 1 versus 2 versus the Ranger and the Revenant. There was that time, and that was on the Waterfall. So both times we were actually coming back in the game was when I was outnumbered for over a minute. And then my allies could actually, like, obviously get an advantage of that position.
I mean, I feel like Vermilion as a team, though, as well, they've grown ever since they've started. There hasn't really been a dip in their performance, or maybe you wanted to go for
You could honestly say the same thing about PZ, though. I mean, they're both in similar states where right now they're dominating, but I mean, we've only seen them in one meta, and both of these teams have really kind of picked up on this meta very quickly, and they've gone full-fledged with it. So, I mean, we'll have to see if these 2 teams are going to be able to do this, have the same sort of success in a different meta, where potentially it could be more bursty, it could be vastly different than what we're seeing
finals.
Right now. So you should keep in mind that also that. So the teams that have won and such, like Vermilion has won 2 best of 3s that matter. I believe one of them was 2-1. Like, they faced Orange and then faced us. Everyone else, they're expected to beat, right? The same applies to, like, us. We're expected to beat everyone except the top 4, where it can go either way. And that applies to everyone. So, like, while a team might look really dominant, like, let's say Vermilion is 5-0. Vermilion's 5-0, so they've beaten the teams they're obviously going to beat, and then they've beaten 2 teams in a best of 3, which is, like, you know, it doesn't consistently show the overall performance of all time. So the state of Europe is really competitive. Like, you know, like us, Orange, Vermilion, and Rank 55, they're all like at the very, very, very top. And there's no team that just sits completely above the others right now. Like, literally, if there was a best of 3 tomorrow, it could have gone either way. If there's a best of 3 at any point, it could go either way, always, you know. Like this time, they actually had a real major meta advantage, a very big one with the portal and such, you know. And we were obviously behind, and we can't be expected to win a best of 3 in that circumstance. Unfortunately, it is what it is, but there's season 2.
Yeah, exactly. Season 2 is not going to be that long away, especially as we got the finals and the rest of the season.
The thing I think is most interesting about season 2 is that you're going to have a lot of, at least in my opinion, you're going to see a lot of people kind of moving around in terms of rosters and stuff, especially in NA. But the
Isn't
thing
that
that I
like
think
part of NA tactics? It's
Oh
not what you
yeah,
guys
I mean,
just do for a living.
the monthly NA shuffle is just going to happen again. But the thing that's going to be most interesting is that there's not a lot of time. So obviously, the Challenger League is the way to get in if you're not going to be able to keep your team, because teams have to keep, I believe, three of the original core members, if I'm not mistaken, in order to keep their team. Otherwise, they have to come in through the Challenger League. So it'll be interesting to see who's even in Season 2. And then, of course, it'll be interesting, moreover, to see what these teams are going to be doing, because obviously it's going to be vastly different than what we've seen in Season 1. I mean, you could even look at just the amulets as being a reason that it'll be vastly different, but certainly because of the balance as well.
There is a lot of changes. I mean, what we can do now is we've gone about half an hour. So what we're going to do is, I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about, Helsef, or, you know, how you feel about the Pro League and how it's gone so far. This is Season 1, it's early days, and obviously we've got the future. We know Season 2 obviously coming up in finals. But this is a question we've asked everyone, really. How it's felt to just really compete in this and, you know, be part of it.
I guess, like, personally, I really miss having weeklies and such. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a person who theory crafts that heavy. You know, like any top player that knows me and played with me knows for a fact that when I play with you guys, like we have our comp, and if we feel like we can win with this comp, if we lose, we're never the team that will try to, like, I don't know, like hope for a new balance or like reroll and such. You know how stubborn I've been with my Mesmer, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we're the type that would always try. Well, I'm the type, and my team, I guess through me, because it generally happens that way, is that we just try to improve. So like, okay, we lost this game. What could we have done better? We could play this better. You know, and just continuously doing that. And with the Pro League being as it is, like where one best of 3 matters so much, and you get to face a good team once every X time. You know, like we face Orange. Just say that, and then there's 2 weeks, and then we face rank 55, or maybe 3 weeks until we face rank 55, and then there's a break and we face Vermilion. What this means is there's a huge gap in the line of time, and then the meta builds are going to matter so much. I like it when everyone knows what everyone's playing, and we're just going to outplay you, or you're going to outplay us, and it feels like we misplayed or we outplayed.
So it's that consistency against being able to go potentially up against the same opponents each week, learning together. And
basically, yeah,
I understand that.
What happens is, every single time in Europe right now, if I face Orange, I'm going to scrim rank 55. And rank 55 and us are going to scrim, Vermilion and Orange are going to scrim. And whoever thinks of the best meta theory craft will win the match, most likely. Like, regardless of like how good the people are on the classes. And it goes on this way. So like, let's say this match finishes, so now I'm playing rank 55, I'm going to scrim Orange. And it continues that way. And it's so much more about build wars and theory craft than it is about just people playing well.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, you know, these are the top 4 teams, they're always going to play well, but you know what I mean. When
of course. I mean, maybe that's something about maybe, you know, opening that scrim, like you say, to potentially, you know, different days, maybe fighting different teams. You know, I'm not going to be the one. That's never
going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
If I'm going to face you this week, I'm not going to scrim you this week, for obvious
reasons. Yeah, of course.
You talked about how it's, at least now, being in a state where you know, it's more about build wars and all that kind of stuff. I mean, would you say it wasn't like that in the past? Because, I mean, from my perspective in NA, I think that it's just always been that way. I mean, that's how we've always played, is that it's always been more about the theory craft, and, you know, the play obviously probably was a little bit more important, you know, prior to this meta. But you talk about teams like, I mean, Apex Prime's, you know, big moment of glory back in TOL 1, and then you also have teams like Radioactive coming through with their certain style of playing that certainly aided them in their success. And
pretty sure it's what kept them from being top tier all the time. They were just that quirky little team that almost got rank 1 all the time, but because they played all day, they scrimmed all day, but they never actually played anything good. I mean, there's a limit to, like, I'm not saying you should be able to play crap and still do well, which is what they were doing. Like, I'm saying that like I just want a stable metagame. That's what I wish for, you know. Like I want to know what people are playing, and I want people to know what I'm playing, and then I just want to outplay essentially. Like everyone knew the comp. You knew Abjur's comp. They were gonna play Thief, Necro, Ellie, and I forgot their last NG, of course. And this was Abjur's comp. They would play this every time, and they would outplay their opponents every single time. It had nothing to do with meta. The opponents always had the option to reroll to the exact same comp and outplay. They just couldn't do that, right? And it was similar states in Europe multiple times where we would play Mesmer Thief, NG, Ellie, whatever. You know the comps. And everyone would play this. Everyone would know the comp, and everyone would just outplay each other, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for something like that, or for a metagame where it's like, even if I don't have the optimal comp, I still have room to outplay you. Because we literally had no room at all to outplay. Our biggest mistake during the game versus Vermilion was not anything related to our gameplay. It was just related to the fact that we didn't reroll Portal and potentially Power Rev as well.
I mean, the way you do that, though, the only environment in which that is actually possible, where outplaying not based off of build is in an assassin meta, right? I mean, that's really the only kind of time where you can do that kind of thing. And would you say that now might be the only opportunity where they have taken out, you know, soldiers, settlers, celestial, sentinel, so now you're going to be relying on things like basically full support builds where you're lacking either vitality or toughness, or where people are probably going to be going more towards spike damage, or perhaps some of the new amulets where maybe it's kind of bruisery, but for the most part it's not as defensive as you would see like Soldier's Amulet.
I mean, like, there's always outplay potential no matter what the build. If you play... what's the most annoying build to you in the game? Like, what's the least skilled, ugliest build in the world for you?
Druid.
What's that? Sorry?
Druid, really? Alright. So, Jebro, if you play Druid and you 1v1 Rom, how's it gonna go?
He's gonna beat me.
Exactly. Like all these quote boring or slash unskilled slash there's not much outplay potential, all these builds, if I mirror you, I can still outplay you. Bunker Mesmer, like, I can outplay you on Bunker Mesmer easily. Like, give me a Revenant to 2v2 you with and I will win.
Yeah.
And we just need, like, if we have mirror, we're still outplaying you. And while having weekly tournaments where a chance to play each other all the time, like forcing the players to compete all the time and reveal their metacraft, what that does is that people can actually react.
We
right?
can evolve as players and as teams.
And there's plenty of outplay potential if we mirror each other. The thing is that we don't have the opportunity to mirror each other because we face each other once per 3 weeks, and we're practicing for 3 weeks our comp, and then we're facing you that you practice your comp for 3 weeks. And if you have 3 weeks of practice on your comp, and I have 10 minutes to decide to reroll it, that it's too late, you know? Like, I don't get the opportunity to change my comp.
Maybe that's something, you know, that's quite good. That's actually just genuinely quite good feedback, actually, for us to think about maybe as people that can potentially get these tournaments maybe back up as well. So that's actually pretty bloody useful.
I've whined to Grouch about it forever because, I mean, I'm not a theory crafter, I'll admit. Like, it drove me crazy that, you know, the teams that have beaten us, we've beaten them 90% of the times in mirrors. And then they come up with a new comp that we're not ready for.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? And then it's thinking about the other side. Like, if you had won, how would you feel exactly? You obviously think similar thing.
I've said this forever. I've said this forever.
So
wait, what was that?
What?
Did you wave my comment? Or did you say yeah?
Yeah, as in yeah, like an agreement of yes.
Chat. I want you to go on ham on Jebro right now. Everyone, right now. I'll do a 200 goal.
See, I was waiting for this. It's been 2.5 years. It has been 2.5 years.
Let's go. Go, chat. Right
One
now.
day we'll do a cast together. It will happen. And maybe it'll be on one of these weekly tournaments that you're talking about. We never know. What we're going to do is now, though, unless you have anything else you would like to comment or talk about very quickly.
I'll just do the obvious one. That the reason I came here, we got obvious Sexeth stream, beautiful stream coming up. So I'm just going to continue there.
Okay.
Twitch TV, the Lord Helseth, enjoy.
And Twitter as well. He's got Twitter down below.
Yeah, but they know about that. They know about that. Like, unlike you, I'm known. Where was we?
Wait a minute. How many? Wait. Everyone in the chat, go and check out how many Hexcelsior followers there are. God.
Returns. for season 2, and we're not gonna disappoint the fans. Like
Okay.
we intend to put up an amazing game versus Orange Logo, where we'll be bunker each other a lot, and the timeout game will end with us having 5 more points than them. Look forward to that. We're gonna give you guys the best game we possibly can, and for season 2, we're gonna do our best for the finals. Like, thanks to everyone that supports TCG, and thanks for everyone that somehow managed to watch through Jebro here. It's very much appreciated. Have a
It's
good one,
appreciated. Always is.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we're going to have a quick look at the preview. So, I mean, of next week's matches, which we're going to have up in the screen as well. So, you know, you guys, your game next week, you're against Purple Noise.
Yeah, we're
in
not
your
practicing.
first-
We're relaxing. This is a vacation. It's a vacation. But
Why did I even
I'm
ask?
relaxing. I'm gonna eat some sushi tomorrow. Maybe we're gonna stream.
Sushi.
I don't know.
I'm calling it the most interesting game will be match 2, the Orange Logo versus Car Crash, just because of the way that both of those teams have been playing, for better or for worse, you know.
Nah, Orange Logo is gonna stomp. It's not make
Just
close.
stomp?
Orange Logo is actually practicing for once. Instead of emoing about their circumstances, they're actually doing that thing they should have done months
Well, I
ago.
hear that Tage is back now, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna end there. Well, the thing is, Firer played versus Car Crash already, so Tage can't play that game. We're gonna see, but they're still practicing, so it's whatever. Like,
Right.
of course, Orange wins. Of course. Don't be silly, Heurix. Come on. Use that little NA inside. It's fine.
You never know in this league. I mean, you know, let's have a look at the last week. But anyway, we'll move on. Chaotic Contingency versus Vermilion. I think that's probably a given that Vermilion are going to take that. Chaotic Contingency had a lot of potential.
Yeah, they had so much potential, and then their star player Fire left. So now they're just sad. Of course, Vermilion wins. Ranked 5 most definitely wins. Orange Logo most definitely wins. And Purple Noise is going to put up a great game, possibly get a chieftain kill before they lose 525. And that's it.
Okay. Halseth being quite nice there. Okay, so we got NA back up next as well. So out of these games here, you got Apex versus Abjured, Team PZ, Zero Counterplay, Never Lucky, Final Form, and Spooky versus Easy Peasy. Which of these series are you looking forward to, really? What's your pick next week for the main game, really? Main series.
First of all, Never Lucky versus Final Forum will definitely be an interesting game. That's match 3, but it doesn't matter. The only games that really matter are just the games that kind of mean something for that second place slot. So the first match matters, although I'm not sure how much, because if Apex Prime does wind up beating the Abjured, however unlikely that may be, they will be in contention for that spot, and then it'll come down to a tiebreaker between them, PZ, and Spooky. It'll just come down to whoever has the most wins, I believe, which will I think be PZ, because every one of their losses, they have at least a round win. Like, they have a round win versus Apex, a round win versus the Abjured, and
it's important, right? Those round wins can really and actually might separate teams for third, fourth position.
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, if PZ wins the rest of their games, they're going no matter what happens. If I'm not mistaken, but you know, of course, if Apex Prime beats the Abjured, they are again in contention. But I don't expect them to. So I mean, that's not game of the week, at least in my opinion. PZ versus Zero Counterplay. That's certainly going to go in PZ's favor unless just something monumentally bad happens. I can't expect anything at this point. And match 3, Never Lucky versus Final Form. I'm just going to call that as game of the week, because that's going to be the one that's the most interesting. It's going to be the one that could potentially be back and forth, but I think that Never Lucky is probably going to be winning that one. And that might be a little bit, I don't know, polarizing maybe, but Never Lucky has improved a lot, and Final Form has been on a very slow decline, so I'm going to call Never Lucky on that one, and also Never Lucky practices just like all the time, so you know, you got to give them that too.
I mean, that's right, isn't it? I mean, Never Lucky have actually been climbing, whereas Final Form, like you say, have been declining. I mean, you know, early on in the season, they had a lot of difficulties with roster, and just, you know, being able to perform, I think, as well as a team. But I think they've actually come back really well, and maybe you're right. You know, let's just hope they've got some luck this week. And like you say, maybe it's rubbed off on Final Form, the unluckiness of this team comp as well. But otherwise, that is pretty much the show. We've been here for 45 minutes. You've been lucky enough to, of course, have guild chats and have a look at all the different changes that have been available there, as well as seeing myself, Heurix, and also the Lord Helseth, of course. Make sure you check us out on Twitter at CT Heurix for Heurix, myself at Jebdan. Helseth has a couple of followers here and there. He is at the Lord Helseth, of course.
Which TV, the Lord Helseth, the only stream that matters.
Yeah, and there you go. You're streaming after this, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So make sure you go and check him out. Obviously,
that will be probably the uncensored. Response.
Like, for those of you guys who thought I was like being silly and stuff here, like this guy isn't being professional. Don't worry, I'm gonna clean that up for my own stream, and it's gonna be a normal, family-friendly stream going on.
Hashtag family friendly, right?
Yes.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming along as well, Helseth, and as obviously to my awesome co-host, Mr. Heurix himself. You'll see us next week. We're on the road to the finals. We know who's going pretty much, but we still got some awesome games and series to watch in the future. Make sure you join us on Monday as well, 6 p.m. in the UK, of course, GMT. It's going to be 5 p.m. PST, right, Heurix?
What's that?
5 p.m. PST. Yes. Twitch.tv/Guild Wars 2. Make sure you're there. We'll see you very soon. Take care. And don't forget.